Hello, it's Chris Hynes from Wealthi. I hope you're doing well. Today, I thought we'd end the year with a quick video around the top 5 UK cities and UK markets that I've got my eye on as we head into 2022. Obviously, it's been a great year for the UK property world in terms of rentals and investments as well. It's been a very strong and positive year. For people that own investment properties at the moment, we've seen some strong rental growth over the past 12 months. And then from a demand side of things, prices are still being driven up by the amount of demand for property in the UK. And we'll see a lot of the same, you could say, effects that we've seen over the past 12 months as we head into the new year as well. I think we'll see some slightly slower growth as we start to cool down off the back of the end of the stamp duty holiday. But we've, of course, still got extremely low interest rates, which is going to drive a lot of demand for property in the UK in the new year. And there is still that issue with the lack of supply, which makes it a very competitive market when it comes to a sales environment as well. But in today's video, we'll run through the top 5 markets that I've got my eye on for the new year. We'll run through a couple of stats, a couple of reasons as to why we think that that's a fantastic opportunity. And if you've got any questions come the end of the video, please feel free, as always, to reach out, leave a comment in the comment section below, or click on the book now link. I'm more than happy to have a chat with each and every one of you. But without further ado, we will get stuck into it. Now, Birmingham has performed extremely well over the past 12 months. We've seen some very strong growth in Birmingham, and it's really had that history carry over, you could say, from about 2016, 2017, when we started to see a large amount of investment into Newcastle, and it really established itself, you could say, as a commutable city to London. Now, with the help of HS2 that's going to be completed come 2026, it's going to really cut down that travel time and further boost its commutability, you could say, to London, which of course will result in prices and rents in Birmingham increasing over the near future as well. So Birmingham remains one of the top places to invest in 2022, continuing a run of form which started in 2016. Savills have predicted that Birmingham will be one of the fastest growing regions over the next 5 years, forecasting price growth of 24% by 2025. One of the biggest advantages Birmingham holds is its affordability. Knight Frank research shows that the average income to average property price ratio is much better in Birmingham than across the wider UK region. Average rents have risen by 30% in the last 10 years and are expected to rise by 12.5% in the next 5 years. It's got a rising population expected to hit 1.24 million by 2030. That's in the central, you'd say, the main part of Birmingham, and then some of the strongest connectivity foundations in the UK are being improved with new transport links. So that's HS2. You've also got the new Midlands Rail Metro that will be going in Birmingham as well, which is just going to make connectivity around the city that much easier as well. Now, on the right hand side, there's a quick snapshot of the current or where things are currently sitting and what's projected for the next few years. So in terms of average property price, that's currently sitting at £214,696. Average rental yields 6.56%, and then price growth in the next 5 years is sitting at 17.44%. As I mentioned, those Savills have predicted about a 24% rise in prices until 2025. So really, depending on the source, it can vary, but you're looking somewhere between that 17 to 24%. Now, Manchester is also another one that's been spoken about for, you could say, a long period of time now. Manchester is still regarded, you could say, as the capital of the Northern Powerhouse. We're seeing a lot of investment flowing into Manchester as it stands. There's a lot of development, a lot of infrastructure being developed in Manchester as well. And there's a lot of positive signs for the market. Some of the best capital appreciation returns on this list of options and areas that I'm going through today have been experienced in Manchester, and that's been over the past 5 years, including a rise between 2017 and 2018. Manchester has led the way for price growth in the north. Future growth looks set to continue this trend, with property prices expected to rise by 28% according to the Savills revised forecast. rapidly growing economy and population, which have both made incredible strides over the past few years. Manchester remains a clear alternative to London for renters, with a host of career opportunities in global businesses and employment growth of 84% between 2002 and 2015. Then you've got the Great Northern Rail project, which is expected to come into effect by 2022, and that's going to allow 40,000 more passengers to travel throughout key cities of the north, which in tail will increase tourism for Manchester significantly. Now, a quick snapshot on Manchester. Average property prices currently sit at £208,792. Average rental yields, you're looking at about 6.53%, and then price growth for the next 5 years is currently sitting at 20.69%. Now, Nottingham is another one that's been on my radar for a couple of years now, and it's really starting to gain some momentum. I guess Nottingham is generally known for its two major universities that are located in the city centre, but it's got a lot happening in Nottingham at the moment. Now, Nottingham has been making huge strides over the past few years and now represents a key investment area. Nottingham's major strength is in its past capital growth and future long-term yield growth, which is set to be one of the strongest in the country according to JLL. Driven by two major universities located relatively close to the city centre, there is a huge amount of tenant demand supporting these yields, alongside a booming creative quarter that is serving the growing graduate pool. Now, Nottingham is also home to Queen's Medical Centre, which is classified as a super hospital in the region and one of the largest teaching hospitals in the country. From memory, I believe it's about 6,000 employees and attendees, you could say, that are at the Queen's Medical Centre. So once again, that's another, you could say, employment driver for Nottingham as well, which in turn is going to help with the rental side of things. Now, a quick snapshot on Nottingham. Average property prices currently sit at £230,522. Average rental yields, you're looking at 4.92%, and price growth in 5 years, that's forecast at about 19.26%. Now, the next market is Newcastle. So Newcastle is a very interesting one. You probably heard me rattle on about Newcastle a bit in previous videos, but it's an area that's really caught my eye over the past 6 to 12 months, really more so since the football takeover, which I'll dive into a bit more later on throughout this video. But I think there's a lot of opportunity in Newcastle. Price point wise, you can get in at a very affordable price point. I was having a look at more so the secondary market. But you can get into the secondary market for around that £100,000 mark. If you're looking at new stock as well, I know there's a couple new developments in the city centre. A lot of them are being sold out extremely rapidly, but you could get in for a one bedroom at about the £115,000, £120,000 mark. So from an accessibility and affordability standpoint, Newcastle ticks a lot of boxes there. I think we're going to continue to see a lot of investment in Newcastle. That's the Saudi consortium that is involved in the Newcastle football takeover, has made a statement, and this was during the takeover, that they plan to invest in Newcastle itself. They're going to invest in Newcastle's training ground as well, and they're going to add a lot of value, I feel, to the city itself. So that's going to be an interesting market to watch. I think there's going to be a lot that's going to change over the next 12 to 24 months as well, and somewhere that you can get in early and benefit from some good growth and some solid rental yields as well over the near future. Now, Newcastle is the 8th largest city in the UK by population. Newcastle is one of the most affordable locations, as mentioned, on this list, and thus driving the best rental yields in the UK. Newcastle has one of the best graduate retention rates in the country and is recognised as one of the fastest growing regions for new startup businesses. This will likely boost demand for younger professionals, which in turn will increase rental prices and thus yields. Newcastle Football Club takeover. Many believe we will see substantial investment into the city, as been stated by the consortium themselves, and outer regions of Newcastle to establish itself as a main market in the UK. And numbers on the right, once again, you've got your snapshots. So average property price £215,000, £355,000. Average rental yield 5.23%. Price growth for 5 years, I think that is a little bit low. They're expecting 8.26%. I think we're going to see some stronger growth than that over the next few years. But a lot of this, you could say, is unknown at the moment. But it's something, or a market definitely to keep an eye on as we move through the 2022 calendar year. Now, lastly, the last market that I wanted to talk about is Leeds. Now, Leeds has always been an interesting one, and that is growing massively in population as a business hub as well. We're seeing a lot of corporates move up and relocate their headquarters to Leeds as well, because once again, it answers a lot of questions when it comes to the affordability aspect. And Leeds is a fantastic place from an affordability standpoint to be able to get into the market. Now, home to 800,000 people, 73% of households in Leeds are currently renting, making this a dream for investors looking for constant tenant demand. Now, rental demand in Leeds is gaining momentum quickly. JLL predicts that Yorkshire will see growth of 28% over the next 5 years, driven by the aforementioned demand, as well as a number of build-to-rent schemes being delivered across the region. Economically, Leeds is one of the fastest growing in the country and now rivals several European cities. This is having a huge impact on the opportunities available within the city, enticing nearly 10% of those leaving London to move to Leeds. And this has been annually since 2018 as well. So it's really solidifying its place on the UK map. It's enticing a lot of people to move up there. I think it's ticking a lot of boxes from an affordability standpoint, from an investment standpoint. It's also ticking that affordability question, and then it's ticking the rental demand. And we're going to see a lot more demand and growth in that Leeds market over the next 5 years. So it's one that I definitely keep an eye on as well. Quick snapshot, average property price, you're looking at about £232,000. Average rental yields 5.76%, and price growth for the next 5 years, you're looking at about 15.3%. So some very strong numbers there as a whole. Now, I hope that's given you a nice little breakdown of some markets that we are currently monitoring in the UK. I think there's a lot of opportunity in Newcastle. That's going to be one that I've got my eyes very closely on. I think there's also a lot of opportunity for Birmingham. One thing I didn't mention earlier on in this video is the fact that they've got the Commonwealth Games in 2022 as well, which is going to solidify their position from a global scale and from a global audience that little bit more as well. We're seeing some strong price growth in Birmingham, some strong rental growth in Birmingham, and I think there's a lot of opportunity there for investors. It's going to become a very commutable city once HS2 is in place and that's running. That's also going to drive prices up. It's going to make it commutable to London in about 45 minutes, and I think that's going to add a lot of value to the city as well. And then lastly, one that I didn't actually mention in this video so far is the London market, and I think London's one to keep an eye on if it is in your budget. I think there's a lot of opportunity for investors to be purchasing London real estate as our borders are gradually open more and more. We're seeing international students come back into London. We're seeing overseas investors purchasing in London, overseas clientele moving back to London as well. So I think that's going to be one to watch. Rents are growing astronomically in London as well. We've had a very strong last quarter in terms of rental growth and then also price growth in the London market. So I think there's some very positive signs as we head into 2022 and we gain that sense of normality again pre-COVID times. So there's a lot of opportunity in that London market as well. But I hope you've enjoyed, and if you've got any questions, please feel free to reach out. I look forward to speaking to you all very soon, and have a fantastic Christmas and New Year's, and I'll speak to you all in the new year. Thank you very much. Goodbye.